Okay, everybody, hello. This is the video for section 5.3, which is on Venn diagrams and counting. In the last section, we learned about a counting formula for counting the number of elements in the union of two sets. Today we're going to see how those type of problems might be done with Venn diagrams. So here's an example. This is our only example for this section. A merchant surveyed 400 people about where they get their news, and this merchant found that 180 people get their news from the internet, 190 people get their news from TV, 190 get their news from the newspaper. Now, you might be thinking right away that these numbers don't add up to 400 people. Good observation, you're right. So these numbers don't add up to 400 people. What's going on in this problem? There are some people that fall into multiple categories. So some people get their news from the internet and as well as TV, and those people would be counted in both of these sets right here. So going on, let's see how that plays out. 80 people get their news from the internet and TV. 90 people get their news from the internet and newspaper. 50 people get their news from TV and newspaper. And finally, 30 people get their news from all three sources. So what we're going to do is we'll fill out the Venn diagram with the correct number of people in each region and then answer a couple questions. So here's how we're going to start this problem. Here's what our Venn diagram looks like. So far we've been used to working with Venn diagrams with only two sets. If you have three sets, here's what your Venn diagram is going to look like. Let's label this. So this is our internet bubble. Here's our TV bubble. And here's our newspaper bubble. Now, let me get a pencil here, because it would be wrong, because I'm going to make a mistake here. It would be wrong of me to start filling in the numbers like this. 180 in the newspaper part, 190 in the TV part, I'm sorry, the internet part, 190 in the newspaper, and then 80 in internet and TV. Why is this wrong? Because, like we said before, like the problem states, there's 400 people that are surveyed, and we're already over 400 right here. So this isn't correct. When the problem tells me that 180 people get their news from the internet, what that means is that there are 180 people somewhere in that internet bubble. Now, the problem is I don't know where to put those 180 people. I don't know how many people should go out here, meaning that they only get news from internet. I don't know how many people should go in here, meaning they get their news from the internet and also the TV. I don't know how many people, so I don't know how to distribute this news, the people that get their news from the internet, those 180 people just yet. We're going to have to fill this information out very carefully. So to start off with, there's only one piece of information out of this list that I can fill in, or that I know exactly where it's going to go in this Venn diagram, and that's this last group right here. The 30 people that get their news from all three sources have nowhere else to go but that center intersection portion. Once I get those people in place, I can start filling in this information. I'm going to go kind of bottom up with all of this. So 30 people get their news from all three sources. I put those 30 people in the very center of the Venn diagram where the three blobs overlap. And then I start moving my way up. 50 people. 50 people get their news from TV and newspaper. So that means that there are 50 people in that portion of the Venn diagram where the TV and newspaper blobs overlap. Now I've already counted 30 of them, right? There's supposed to be 50 in here, and I've already got 30, so how many are left? How many people go in this portion? 20. 50 minus 30 is 20. And then I keep working my way up. 90 people get their news from the internet and newspaper. So 90 people are in this part of the Venn diagram. We've already got 30 of them, so we need 60 more to make up 90. 80 people get their news from internet and TV. 80 people are in this part of the Venn diagram. I've already got 30, so I'm missing 50. Ooh, that looks like 6. It's a 5. 50 right there. 190 people get their news from the internet. So 190 people get their news from the newspaper. So 190 people are in the newspaper blob. How many people do I already have in the newspaper blob? 60 plus 30 plus 20, that's 110. Yep, 110. So 190 people need to be in the newspaper blob. I've already got 110 of them. 80 people have yet to be counted. 190 people get their news from the TV. We've already got 100. 50 plus 30 plus 20 is 100. So there's 90 people that still have to go in the TV blob. Finally, those 180 people that get their news from the internet, 180 people in the internet blob, we've already got 50 plus 30 is 80 plus 60 is 140. I've already got 140 people in there. I need 40 more. So that's how we're going to do this. We're going to fill in the Venn diagram from the inside out. Now, there's one part of this Venn diagram that still has yet to be filled out, and that's the outer portion. So how many people are going to go in there? Well, we know that there's 400 total, and we've already counted, let's add up all these numbers. We've counted 40 plus 50 plus 90 plus 30 plus 60 plus 20 plus 80, 370. So 370 people have been counted already. That means 30 people have yet to be counted. 30 people need to go in that outer region. Let's answer some questions now that we've got our Venn diagram filled out. So, how many people get their news from only newspapers? Where in the Venn diagram can I find that? I can find that answer in the part of the newspaper blob that doesn't overlap with any of the others. 80 people right there. These 80 people are in the newspaper group, but they're not in the TV or the internet group. So 80 people are getting their news from only newspapers. How many people get their news from a single source? So a single source could be just the internet, just TV, or just newspaper. Now we already know that there's 80 people that get their news from only newspaper. 40 people over here get their news from only internet. These 40 people are part of the internet group, but they're outside the TV and the newspaper group. And these 90 people here get their news from only TV. They're in the TV group, but they're outside the internet and newspaper group. So how many people in total only get their news from one single source, be it the newspaper, the internet, or the TV? We're going to add these three up. We get 210 people right there. And finally, how many don't get their news from any of the three sources? So how many people are outside of all the bubbles? We look here, boom, these guys. 30 people are not part of the TV group, they're not part of the internet group, and they're not part of the newspaper group. So 30 people. All right, that's about it for this section. This section's pretty quick. The main idea here is we're trying to fill in the different portions of the Venn diagrams with the correct numbers, and to do that we got to be careful. Usually we try to fill things in from the inside out, although for some problems we might give you a little bit of a different method that you got to use. This is the typical way of doing it though. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions with any of the homework problems, and I'll see you later.